I hope everyone can now see my screen.
as it is visible and seeable.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you. Okay, so today I would like to welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Entrepreneurs Toolkit. This program is brought to you by Sustainable Africa, and today we'll be looking at ways in which you can leverage technology and innovation for your business. Um, we, I think the program director mentioned 3 points, 3 technologies we'll be looking at, but I'll add a bonus, and that bonus I'll leave it for those who make it up to the end. All right, so just to start with some house rules, I think everyone is quite following the first point already. And for some of your questions, please, if during the presentation you maybe feel shy to ask your question, you can just drop it in the chat box, or you can just send it to me directly through the chat. And if I notice it, then we'll probably discuss it. On the third point, there will be a Q&A section after the presentation, but within, like I said on the second point, if you have a question which you feel you might not be able to wait till the end, you can just send it directly and we will go through that. Mm, this network. All right. So basically, on this slide, it was a little bit about me. So I will talk a little bit about me. My name, like Ibrahim said, I am Fujo Perez Agbo, and I am a telecom engineer, but I am also an entrepreneur. So for now, I'm able to discuss on this topic because I am currently doing a training program with the International Telecommunication Union, where I am being exposed to emerging technologies, AI, IoT, blockchain technology, biometrics, um, satellite communications, and how they can impact businesses. So on our learning checklist, we will start with a brief overview of a little bit of business insights, sharing also personal experiences. We will go to digital platforms. We'll discuss what they are. We'll discuss the difference between digital platforms and digital tools. We will try to look at some fundamental concepts about AI, IoT, and blockchain. Then, since one of the highest problems in businesses has always been reach, we will then go to how you can solve the problem of reach by building an online presence. Now, my key objective for this presentation is for us to exchange views on how we can leverage technology and innovation to drive growth in our business. I personally did not put to learn, but rather I decided exchange because I feel learning is a two-way process. So I really believe that there can be people in the webinar which who may also be very knowledgeable on some of the aspects, and if I miss out some points they can bring them up and we discuss, we exchange views, and all of us are entrepreneurs, so we should be open to sharing, and I'm sure we'll have a beautiful exchange. All right, so today our theme Can that person close his or mic, please? Ibrahim, please, can you close that person's mic for me?
Okay, who are you talking about? Okay, let me close it.
All right. So, today we will be looking at three main concepts. The first being technology, the second being innovation, and the third being business. And we are trying to look at an intersection where all the three come together. Now, back in the day, businesses used to face a lot of trouble, and so far, like I've said, the main problem with most old business models has been the problem of reach. So, why is technology so important in modern business? Not just driving innovation, but also bringing some sorts of, I would say, some sorts of revolution in modern business. I have brought out 4 points. Now we'll look at the points in terms of how they were a problem in older business models and how it can be solved in modern business. The first being reach, the second being efficiency, the third being how to make decisions and how quick those decisions can be made, and how decisive those decisions can be. And lastly, customer engagement. We know in every business, you if they say there's a saying which goes, if you take care of your customer will take care of your business. This is basically because whatever thing you do, you need your customer. Your customer is at the center of it all. Now, technology has been playing quite a very important role in businesses, and of recent we will notice digital transformation has been a very big buzzword in the business world for some time now, and that's for a good reason. With the rise of new technologies and changing customer expectations, businesses that fail to adapt, the risks falling behind. Now, these concepts are converging, and they are transforming industries, not just say one particular industry, say for example healthcare or manufacturing or maybe finance, but it's technology is empowering businesses to unlock new opportunities, improve efficiency, and deliver innovative experiences. If we have people from maybe East Africa on the webinar, they can really tell us last time, let's say 10 years ago, and the way their cities were. I'll take for example the case of Nairobi, and presently now it looks different. So our cities are getting smarter by the day, with AI revolutionizing operations across industries, from customer service to optimizing supply chains to the use of AI powered chatbots in businesses for quicker response. That's customer engagement. Now, IoT too came in. And I think last 2 years, let's say from 2022 to 2024, has been so far the biggest years for IoT. Now, at the level of ITU, we are considering the number of connected devices to double from 15 billion in this data was in 2023 to about 30 billion in 2030. Now, this is, I would say, probably like more than 10 times the amount of human connections that can be made. So if you focus your business just on, let's say, people to people, and not including the connections that can be made between devices through network, through technology and innovation, that will really be a big problem. Now, some of the key points I would like to highlight and some of their significance, like I started discussing, was why do we put so much importance on this. We put so much importance on technology and innovation in modern business because they can a combination of the two will make your business more efficient and very much more productive. I'm sure you agree with me that the moment you can streamline a lot of processes about your business, you can automate tasks, all that will lead somehow to enhance productivity. Now, if you take a business, let's say for example, you are into a particular niche and you try to compare yourself to someone of that same niche, when you bring technology into your business, you increase your competitive advantage. That should be normal because one of the things you'll be able to do is you can make decisions quicker, you can adapt to changing markets much more easier. Now, in every business, one of the things we as entrepreneurs try to look at all times is the cost. The activity you are engaging in, what's the cost? Now, how can technology help us in modern business to cut down those costs and turn them into benefits? Because when we are an entrepreneur, we are there for profit. I'm not sure someone who is maybe into charity works will be calling themselves an entrepreneur. They will basically just be what for me I'll call they're doing NGO work. Now, this on this slide I'll discuss a little bit on my own personal experience. This data is data which I from a study we did in 2023, and we were trying to evaluate some of these aspects. We decided to include IoT in our business, AI, blockchain, and cloud services. Now, from the graph, you can see that when we included IoT, we had an increase in total growth of about 40%. When we did same thing with AI, we had 60%. So imagine, let's say you are an entrepreneur and you are making, for example, let's say 1 million of whatever currency your country uses, and you are able to increase that value by 60% by just including one technology. That's really formidable because that's 600,000 in profit. So you leave from maybe making an annual net profit of 1 million to let's say 1.6. That's a lot of growth. Now, for us to deep dive a little bit more into what AI actually is, what AI is, I would say, uh, I'm sure someone can be kind enough to unmute themselves and tell us what they think of how fast the brain can really process information, or how many. Let's say, let me put the question in a more better way. How quick do you think your brain can process information? I'm listening from anyone.
You know, let me say incredibly as fast, like processing information, with some estimate suggestion. I would say like 60 bit per second when it comes to conscious decisions making.
All right.
Yes, then there are some, key points about the brain processing speed. Let's say, from the visual perspective, I would say like 13 milliseconds. And from the neural transmission speed, which ranges from 1 to 120 meters per second, you know, even though it depends on the type of the neuron. So, and yeah, let me say with decision making 300 milliseconds. So it's about whether it's a multiple stream of information. So I don't know if I'm talking in a in a language that most of us would understand, but I would say 60 bit per second.
All right. Um, you are quite correct. So normally our electrical signals in the body are being processed at a speed of 1,000 meters per second. That's really fast. For someone who has been maybe involved in critical thinking, you will try to wonder how fast and rapid your brain is, and maybe multiply that virtually in your head by, let's say, 100 fold. So artificial intelligence is a technology that tries to do a simulation of how human intelligence processes information, but in computerized systems. That is what your brain is able to do. They try to put it in a machine, and that machine can do the same thing, and at a very faster rate and maybe more complex tasks. Because, for example, there are some things which, when you start trying to understand, you start experiencing, let's say, maybe brain fatigue and all of that. Now, if we want to put AI into, let's say, a mathematical perspective, we'll see that AI is in function of data and model. Now, the data is collected through, which means it can be either inputted, it can be connected, it can be either collected through sensors. Now, these sensors sometimes can be, I would say, you can collect, let's say, your information in a spreadsheet, and you give it to, let's say, an algorithm or a program. That program now processes it based on the function which you have given it, to be able to maybe create predictions, maybe automate a certain number of tasks, maybe optimize your way of thinking. Because when you give it, it's being considered to be raw data. So imagine you having all the data, you collecting all the data you have from your business, and you are able to use an algorithm to maybe predict the pattern in which your customers buy. So now you will not just be focusing on just reach, but you would also be focusing on, you would also be optimizing how much that client, for example, can buy. This now helps you in the case where, let's say, you have a retail shop. You should not go, and a client which is used to, let's say, buying 4 tablets of soap, and by the thinking of your brain, you start supplying them 2 tablets of soap. The person will definitely buy, but you are making less money. So AI in business, um, some of the key some of the key aspects in which AI is used in business is to predict, to personalize, to automate, and to optimize. We'll dive into a little bit more into a combination of AI and, let's say, hardware to give us IoT. Now, the Internet of Things is the connection of devices through a network with the use of sensors. Now, IoT has so far been estimated be one of the fastest growing emerging technologies of recent. Now, this is not just because of the impact it has on businesses, but also on business niches that it creates. Now, if someone has taken out time, for example, to maybe look out on, I would say, the number of jobs created by IoT and AI alone, just within just this, I won't say this generation, but let's say probably in the last 5 years. Though some people argue that, okay, it's maybe reducing the number of jobs on the market, but I think it's increasing a lot of our productivity and how we see things from a business perspective. We are not bothered about, let's say, the number of employees, but on how much profit we make, how efficient our business is, how beneficial these technologies are for our business. And the beauty about IoT is it can be used by anybody. It can be integrated in any kind of business. And when I mean any kind, I mean any kind. Now imagine you are having, let's say, a business where you manage, let's say, a fleet of cars. No, let's say you run a transport agency, and then at each time you have to say you have to probably fuel your vehicles, and you have one or two stubborn drivers who will take the vehicle and go to a different direction. Now, with IoT gives you the possibility of installing sensors on the vehicle to monitor not just its movement, maybe through GPS, in real time. And that's the beauty of IoT. It gives you information in real time. So imagine as the owner of that business, you able to know where your vehicles are at every time, knowing if someone is, I think if someone is here who is doing business in transport, they would agree with me that one of the most difficult parts of running a transport business is two things: the fuel and to manage the fleet. So you should not have cars stuck in one point, meanwhile you have passengers at the other point to transport. So how does IoT help us through these little sensors that we can put on devices or in our homes to try to track and to try to predict um maybe customer patterns or maybe human behavioral patterns and all of that. It is very essential because in business it reduces a lot of operation costs. Now, for some people too, we can in another aspect we can evaluate IoT to be some sort of mm, an added value. Now, let's say for example, you are into real estate business, and you are used to selling maybe your homes at, let's say, 20 million.
We can't hear you for Joe. Are you having network issues?
Can everyone get me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So let's say you are into real estate business and you bump into someone who has a lot of knowledge on smart homes. Now, when you add IoT to real estate businesses, it does what you get is an added value. Now, let's say for example, a house you can sell for 20 million the maybe smart without maybe smart without maybe smart sensors and all of that. Now, we all surely have that one friend whom when we go to their house and maybe you clap and the lights come on, you maybe clap and the lights go off, and you see that a customer is willing to pay a little higher for these little kind of things because it does not just bring them comfort, but as an entrepreneur, we see like it brings them a some sort of I would say a little bit of societal distinction when maybe they will have friends around and they can just clap and the lights come on, they can just clap and the lights go off, they can just sit in their office and maybe switch off the AC at home. In terms of efficiency too, the clients will see that okay, if I have all these sensors at home, uh maybe I left my house and I was in a hurry, but from the comfort of my office, I can switch off appliances at home. Now that saves the your client on, let's say, um fuel to go back home to just put off maybe appliances at home, um transportation costs, which in other words, fuel also, energy cost, because these things, when for example, a client is taking your offer, the client takes your offer based on the advantages they see. And these are the kind of advantages, the kind of value added sale advantages which IoT can bring into, for example, real estate business, to make you not just sell a house at probably 20 million, but sell it with an added value. And you proposing that, you will tell the client, okay, I'll give you this thing, this house with these capabilities, and let's say, okay, I'm pricing it now at, for example, let's say 30 million. The client will be ready and willing to pay, because even though maybe they might have heard of it, but experiencing it for themselves and having that gives them a certain level of prestige which clients always like. Mm, this network is really slow. I hope you guys would have seen the image, but we'll just talk about it like that. All right. Now, so many people have heard about blockchain technology, but each time they hear about it, they always think it's just cryptocurrencies and all of that, and maybe digital tokens, and maybe the use of it in finance. But blockchain technology is not just all about that. That is just a sneak peek into what blockchain technology offers. Now, I'll use the case for maybe someone who is running, I'll say something like a logistic company to explain. Imagine that you are running a logistics company, and each time you have to maybe use books, you have to maybe use books and Excel sheets to maybe track how your products and how your supplies are moving. If there's someone here from maybe who is doing business with supply chains or logistics, the person can give us a little bit of details on how they usually do that. Do we have anyone?
I'm not sure we have anyone here from logistics, but if there is, you are welcome to raise up your hand and unmute your mic. And I don't think we have.
All right. So, logistics company, what they usually do is they take books and they fill those invoices, fill all of those things. They start passing them to one another, and just like that, maybe until it gets to maybe the in between the supplier and probably the person who is requesting for maybe the supply. Now, how can blockchain intervene in that? Most often, the problem which we get in business is often theft. Um, how would I put it? Mm, I wouldn't say behavioral misconduct, but sometimes people are not, human beings can be quite deceptive and not very honest. And in business, that's where the money comes from. So the moment you have people in your team which are very deceptive and dishonest, you will see that your profits will be going down the drain. Now, blockchain technology uses decentralized and distributed ledger system to record transactions and then pass it all over a network of computers. So imagine you on that one sheet, in your business, in that your logistic business, you have maybe 200 people looking at it at the same time. Like when you pass the sheet, everyone gets a copy of that sheet and make sure that okay, everything there is correct. Now, mind you, this is done without human interaction. So, if you can be able to include blockchain technology into this aspect of your business, where you have to maybe track products between um for on your supply chain, you will see that first of all, one of the things you will gain in is you will not need anyone to be cross-checking whether the stocks are correct or not. The system will already check it for you. It is much more easier to do than for you to come each time you have to maybe go through all that paperwork. And in terms of sustainability too, which has been a very big topic for us in recent times, you will see that using all those papers, those manual ways, can be really stressful, and the amount of things that go down, let's say trees for the production of those books, you see that sometimes the cost too, it's very expensive. So blockchain in combination with other technologies, such as IoT, cybersecurity, can play a very big role in how we can grow our logistics business, mm, grow maybe even the supply. I think even governments now use it in some governments now use it in biometrics, because some people, I think I read one time from one article where it's possible for you to change, um, even your biometrics. But nowadays, with recent I would say innovations from also from ITU and from, but we have seen that blockchain can be used to limit some of those things. It prevents you from changing maybe a record. I'll call it records because, let's look it in the light of transactions. So imagine if you supply something in a business and you are not able to change that. Now this brings some form of trust between the supplier and the person who is buying. And like we all know, trust is a very big thing in business. Sometimes they say how you sell is how people trust you. Now, the ways through which we can combine all these technologies and these innovative thinkings is by using digital tools and platforms. We would now discuss on digital tools and platforms, looking at some examples, looking at maybe the differences and the characteristics of each, how these tools use IoT, blockchain, AI to boost your business. Though I'm sure everyone here has used a digital tool. Ibrahim, you give us light on this one then.
I'm not sure so I could say, like, for now we are using a digital tool which is called Google Meet. This is an
All
example
right.
of a digital tool in which we are using. So we have Zoom, we have other things, we have YouTube in which you go and learn, something new for your business. But there are difference. There are some platforms that we use. For example, with this meeting, we are using TLDV to record the meeting. After the meeting, we will edit the meeting and upload it on YouTube. So that's a platform we are using to record uh, the webinar.
All
So
right. Has
those,
anyone used any other tool, any other digital tool or platform before?
yeah, there are some, there, like, with the, let's say, with AI now, we have ChatGPT, we have a lot of AI apps in which you can, be able to edit apps, edit videos, for example. You have
Yeah.
AI tools that can help you write better, like Grammarly and
Yeah.
other stuff like that. So we have a lot of, AI tools that could help you, in whatever I believe you are doing. I think there is a possibility you'll find a AI application that would help you do that.
No, yeah, that's true. All right. You just reminded me of something. On that AI tool, I think so far the biggest boss in AI has been generative AI. Now, some people feel like yeah, Ebenezer, thank you for that. So some people feel like AI just came of recent, but AI has been for more than 70 years. And so far, the part of AI that has been the most interesting has been generative AI. Now, imagine you can just sit and you want to create a website for your business, and you just take an AI tool, you just take a tool and you just give it simple instructions, and maybe work that can be done by a software developer for, let's say, a week. It does that for you in less than 5 minutes. That's it's mind blowing, really. It's mind blowing. Now, digital tools are software applications or programs, or sometimes they are online services that facilitate various tasks and processes in the digital environment. Sometimes these tools are designed to improve efficiency, productivity, and sometimes collaboration. An example of how it's used in collaboration is, for example, what we are using right now. On the other hand, digital platforms are a collection of those tools interacting seamlessly and operating together. So the tool, we can see that the tool, in terms of its scope, it's one function. I would say a single functionality, while the platform regroups a number of tools and create an environment where they can operate together and share information. Now, this is very good because platform is an improvement of digital tools, because the moment you can share data between one tool and another, it reduces you that stress of maybe buying a certain number of tools and thereby reducing your cost, your expenditure too. Some of the examples of digital tools so far, I was hoping someone from project management should have mentioned about Trello, uh, someone who should have mentioned Salesforce. But now, sometimes on Salesforce, people get mixed up whether it's a tool or a platform. For me, I would say it's a platform. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, I'll consider it to be a platform because yeah, Salesforce does not just provide one single functionality, but it's it has an analytics part, it has a marketing part. So just it having two abilities already makes it a platform and not a tool. Now, the one of the some of the ways we can differentiate between what is a tool and what is a platform is always on the scope, the functionality, and the interconnectivity. Now, this part is very important to know in business as an entrepreneur, because you cannot buy, sometimes you cannot disburse money for what you yourself do not understand. Even though you have, maybe for example, you have employees who are meant to understand that, but it's also good for you to understand those things for yourself. It gives you a certain leverage, and it makes you look also very competent and serious in your activity. Now, one aspect which people always ask questions on is, now, all these tools, all these platforms, how do I make a choice? So those who are maybe using, I think should be ChatGPT, and some people tell me they always prefer maybe using the recent than the older version, and I always ask them why. It's not like the data sets are very different, or maybe the capabilities are very different, but why do you choose to use maybe Zoom uh, than using maybe Microsoft Teams? Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you notice that sometimes choosing these tools can be a very difficult process. And you would sit and wonder, like my friend on the screen there, thinking of whether he wants to use Zoom for his meetings or Microsoft Teams, or whether he will be using Google Analytics, or he will go and just look for his data on Statistica. This is some form of decision making in every business, and I have tried putting up together some factors you should consider when you are choosing a digital tool to help leverage technology and innovation in your business. I think you should first start by evaluating the most important one should be your need. Don't just buy a tool or a platform for buying sake, or because maybe you've seen a friend who is also in the same line of business getting that tool or getting that platform. Now, in as much as how human beings are very complex, you should understand that sometimes how friendly a platform is, it determines how productive. or how quick maybe you yourself or an employee will be able to understand that platform to increase their productivity. You should not go and take something which is very complex and you yourself you look at it and you cannot understand your left and your right. That will be really a shame. Now, if you have developed your plan of the plan of your business and you see that your business will maybe grow over the years, let's say from you having 10, 15 employees to maybe 200, 1,000, you should take a solution which is very scalable. Now, the scalability here is sometimes it's not just vertical but it's not just horizontal but also vertical. If maybe you want to move from maybe one niche to another, can that platform or that tool integrate be integrated easily? Can your data be copied easily from maybe your present platform or your present tool to the next? How fast and how good are you able to customize that solution which you've bought to suit your business? These points are very important to note because the moment you cannot identify what you want or maybe know the plan or evaluate the plan of your business and relate it to maybe the tool that will be good for it over the long run, you will see that you will be spending much over the long run, and that will lead to a lot of time wastage. Now, for some of the tips on how you can evaluate some of these platforms and implementation, I would say if you are not a sole proprietor, don't be ashamed to say maybe you do not know about these platforms. Get your teams on board. Get people from maybe your IT department on board. Get people from maybe your software department on board. Now, most often they will be able to test, do pilot testing on these platforms for you beforehand. And what I have seen so many business fail in doing when they want to leverage technology is they fail to identify maybe key performance indicators to measure maybe the performance of the tools or the platforms they are getting. Another tip is to always try to get feedback from your employees or from yourself. Now, you have used this tool for maybe this period of time. What can you say about that tool? Is that tool efficient? Does it help you in your business? And what's the percentage good you have noticed ever since you started using that tool? It is very important to keep this data because it will not just help you to evaluate your business more, but it will lead to the overall growth of your business. We have 6 more slides to go. I think if anyone has maybe a question so far, the person can maybe unmute so our brains relax a little and we have a little conversation.
I have a question, but I wanted us to let's finish first.
All right,
Let you finish with yes, then
all
I'll
right,
ask my.
all right. One of the biggest problems in business has been the issue of reach. Now, the more you are able to reach people, the more customers you can get. Now, so many people are using I'll say for example business WhatsApp and a lot of other business platforms, LinkedIn, and I think Twitter is thriving in Nigeria, right? X. Now, some of the strategies you can put in place for you to build a strong online presence is and some of the reasons why you should do that. It will enhance your engagement. You can also do that using maybe social media. Now, for you to have a very good online presence, which I think falls in one of the next episodes, which they will look further more into, is you should also be able to get data from your from the customers you are already having to be able to create good ads. Now, what will this ad serve as? This ads will help you to reach the right audience and reaching the right audience is already a big plus for your business, because you cannot be, let's say you cannot be selling shoes, and maybe you're selling a specific brand of shoes or through an e-commerce store. Let's say you're selling maybe sports shoes, and maybe you're targeting people who maybe work in on maybe rigs. You see, people who work on rigs do not usually, there's no relation between them using between they using uh sports shoes and they may be using protective gears for work. So this analytics beforehand helps you to grow your business. Now, for all those who have made it so far, yeah, I would just like to congratulate you. I'll give you some thumbs up. Now, in as much as we want to leverage technology for our business, but know that with all these new technologies come a lot of risks. And the way through which you can protect your business and your data is by having good cybersecurity best practices. Because you do not just want to get up one day and oh your whole system is down. Your whole system is down means your whole business is no longer functional. Maybe someone has hijacked it and maybe you need to start spending to recover it through some kind of ransomware and all of that. Now, why is it very important for you as a business owner who is using technology, who is leveraging technology in their business, to always make sure you're at the top of your game when it comes to security? Now, your clients interpret these threats that come to your system not as some form of, how will I put it? Your clients see the what you do in protecting their data as some form of a good reputation. The moment you tell your clients, oh, I have this firewall, I have this in place to protect your data. So if you give me your data, do not be afraid. It builds you a strong reputation in the market. Now, let's say for example you're running an e-commerce store which you've leveraged AI, you are doing everything, you have AI automated chatbots, virtual assistants replying customers here and there, and one day you lose all of that data. Now, how does your business continue? Now, for some of the tips on how you can implement cybersecurity best practices, I always tell everyone, every business person I know, always have a backup and a recovery plan for all your IT systems. The second and the most important one, always filter control, because sometimes you have mad employees. You have an employee and maybe you have recruited them and maybe it's their time to go and they tell you, oh, I cannot go because this, and the person goes into the system and deletes something. And one thing we two Africans have not been a little bit more focused on is training of our staffs. So you see a lot of businesses, they already have these technologies, but they cannot use it because their staffs are not trained. Now, you should train your staff on how to use those technologies and how to prevent someone intruding their system, or maybe through some sort of I would say some sort of social engineering to get to them to maybe I would say to change their mind about what the business is all about and what the goal for the business is, to maybe doing something bad to the business. I am sure those who attended will have a lot of entrepreneurs. Maybe someone will start by sharing with us their success story and how they have been using maybe Zoom or any other digital tool or platform to grow their business. Is anyone too kind to share his or her story with us? All right, I will share mine. So back in like
Listen,
2028, come on.
Okay, I said, let's leave that one at the.
All right. So for our takeaways, what we've looked at so far today, we've looked at how tech and
A
innovation,
quick Q&A session,
what tech and
and then
I didn't get you, Ibrahim.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm getting you. I am getting you, Ibrahim.
Can you hear me? Issues. I don't know why.
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Um, I said I can hear you, Ibrahim.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I said I can hear you, Ibrahim.
Okay, I said let's leave the success story at the end. Let's just do Q&A.
All right, those who have been sending us their questions, can pop them up and we see how to close up.
So, my questions for today, I have few questions.
All right.
Yeah. So, if you have any question, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. So, let me start with my own question. So, uh, my question is, it's about, the thank you for, thank you and thanks to everyone that so far have put his input. To shed more light on today's topic, it's important to recognize that technology is no longer just a tool. It's a driving force, behind business growth and innovation. From AI that streamline operation to blockchain that offers new ways to securing transactions, and the possibilities are endless. But with all this potentials comes the challenges of understanding how best to leverage these technologies for your specific needs. So here, we are here to explore the practical ways to integrate these innovations into our business and improve efficiency and stay competitive. So let's remember, it's not just about adopting new tech. It's about using strategic let's continue to ready to learn and share insights that can help us all grow. So my question for today is for Joe.
Yes, I can get you.
How do you encourage innovation within your team or your organization?
Um, for me personally, within my team, what I try to do all the time is we do frequent trainings, and I always try to, even though I am the owner of the business, but I make sure I speak last. That is, I get the contribution from all my whole team, because everyone's opinion for me is very important. I get everyone's opinion on how they think we can make this thing better. And I always tell my team, if you feel that this task can be automated, let us know and we'll automate it to ease your own job and to reduce the time response you get for every task we give you. That's one of the ways. Another way is I try to do a little bit of testing. That is, by the side, even though maybe we might be having already a solution and maybe another innovative solution has already come up, I run them simultaneously. I don't know if you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point. So
So
that yeah, I get you.
yeah, so those are basically the two ways I always try to do that.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So my next question is, in your experience, which digital tools have been the most effective for your growth? Can you like name your top five,
Oh,
or let's say
my top
top 10?
my top 10.
Yes.
That's a very long list. Anyway, so it depends. I'll say it depends. Maybe the specific business. But so far, I am using
Just your top tools.
okay, Microsoft Teams, um, Zoom, Salesforce, AWS Cloud, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and a little bit of generative AI platforms.
Okay,
That's
that's
it.
That's great. So, what I would say, will maybe in the future we'll have a session, just focusing on, using these tools, because here some of us don't know, what we use Salesforce to do, or other platforms as you mentioned. Like
All
me,
right.
I don't think I have ever used Salesforce to do something, but I have used AWS, Amazon Web Service, to host some, uh, applications on the cloud. So
Okay.
some of us here don't know actually what you are talking about. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because it's
Yes,
not
I
like
get your point.
everyone that's using the same tools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But for me, in my early days in entrepreneurship, one of my tools I used the most was Microsoft Excel, because I figured that okay, I am doing a lot of mathematics in school. Why don't I just create those little Excel spreadsheets and just run a little bit of maybe functions, and each time I will not have to maybe calculate maybe salaries and all those kind of things, and it will just give me automatically.
Yeah, Excel is a complex tool with it.
Are there any other
Yeah, I
questions
believe
before
it.
we round up?
So for Joe, yeah, so yeah, I have one more question from my end.
All
Then
right.
I don't know if in the audience someone wants to ask question. So my third question, it's going to be on, the challenges. What challenges have you faced when integrating new technologies into your business?
When integrate in the past, where I used to have challenges in integrating new tech and new tools for my business has mostly been how to migrate my data. Now,
Yeah,
sometimes maybe you buy a tool and that tool doesn't use, for example, let's say the same tool, the same data pattern which your existing system has been using. Now, that's a very big problem because sometimes you realize, okay, there is some data I need to recollect to make maybe the new platform more efficient than the other one. Another thing too has been the one which you mentioned to the training of people. And sometimes what I always do is when I want to implement a major technological change in one of my businesses, what I do is I change the management. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but sometimes I think it is more practical because when you have old people and they have been used to maybe a platform, but they become a little bit addictive to that platform and they want to stick to it. They do not want change.
yeah, I believe
So I noticed when I switch maybe the
very
teams or
fast
the
in adapting
management,
to change.
and yes, when I switch maybe the management or the team handling maybe the platforms, I see that okay, the way the platform is being handled and taking and the grasp is faster than using an older management.
Yeah, yeah. This is a nice strategy. I never thought of it this way, but I think I will implement something like that
Yeah,
in
you
my
should try it
business.
out. I'll tell you, when it comes to tech, older generations are very resistant.
Yeah, that's great. So, guys, I think you have answered all my questions. So, El, yes, El Hadawi, are you raising up your hand? You can unmute your mic and ask question. If you have question, guys, don't feel shy. You can write it on the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask your question. This is an open discussion. It's not a lecture room. Everyone is welcome to share his idea here. And on the chat box, I saw that Ebenezer, you mentioned some digital tools: Kahoot, generative AI, Zoom, Google Meet, and quizzes.
Quizzes.
Yeah, so have you is even okay, Ebenezer is here. So can you unmute your mic, and talk to us about your experience with those app that you mentioned? Ebenezer, are you here with us? So
So on my
so
side, I
since
don't have.
I think for Joe this means okay, Treson. Yes, we are hearing you. You
I
can
will say
talk.
I don't know. I don't have any question, but I will because I will just read the conference. I will follow it again, and maybe if I have a question, maybe later I can text it on mail, on Gmail, something like that.
Yeah, so the session is about to close. That's why this it's time for Q&A. If you have any question,
So
you
right
have
now I don't
this
have.
particular topic, you can ask. So for Joe, uh earlier you mentioned something on blockchain in the supply chain industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a case study of Walmart and IBM. You know, uh, Walmart is a global retail giant. We all know Walmart, even though I don't know if there is Walmart in Africa. I don't know. There is no Walmart in Nigeria, but Walmart is a global giant, especially in the US and other places in the part of the world. So they partnered with IBM to improve their food supply chain transparency and traceability using blockchain technology. Which the aim of the partnership was to address challenges like food safety, fraud, and inefficiency in tracing the origin of those that particular food products. So before adopting the blockchain, Walmart faced a lot of challenges with tracking the source of contaminated food during food safety incidents. There's an outbreak. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
Yeah.
called salmonella or something like that. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So identifying the source of the contamination could take days or even weeks, leading costly recalls and wasted products and health risks for consumers. So the solution, Walmart implemented a blockchain platform to digitize the supply chain process. Blockchain allowed Walmart to keep record of each step of the supply chain on a secure and transparent ledger. Every time a product is changed, have changed hands, for example, from this guy to this guy, from farm to table, the transaction was documented on the blockchain. So making the entire journey visible and verifiable. So the results from this, I would say, I've learned four things in which improved traceability, enhanced transparency, reduce cost and wastage, and
Yeah.
regulatory compliance, in which the adoption of this blockchain technology in Walmart supply chain highlighted like the potential for blockchain to enhance efficiency and transparency and trust by providing a clear and secure record of each transaction. Blockchain is not only improved operational efficiency, but also, significantly boost consumer confidence in safety of products they purchase. Thank you. So, yeah, I believe that's the case study I wanted to talk about, the success story.
All right. I will share one too. In a similar light, one of the industries where blockchain technology is playing a very key role for transparency has been in the pharmaceutical industry. We know that that's an industry that is full with a lot of fraud, and we have a lot of products moving from place to place, which sometimes, if you are not careful, some an external entity can maybe just make a product with no level of compliance, or no level of I'll say mm, product uniqueness, or product verifiability, and just input it into the supply chain. Now, governments, for example, I think in the US, and I think the CDC too, the Center for Disease Control, is also using that to monitor the supply of drugs in the whole world. And when I mean drugs, I mean medicine. I do not mean drugs such as cocaine, all those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pharmaceutical industry is a good example because I would say is a very important industry, and there's a lot of I would say how would I put this?
A lot
A
of
lot of
logistics.
fraud going on. Yes, I would put it that way. So for Joe, thank you for showing up today and sharing your own insight. We have Endurance here. Endurance, can you unmute your mic and say a few words?
Yeah, good morning. I don't know what it is by your time over there, but it is 11:14 a.m. here in Nigeria. All right, I've listened every every word. I understood them. That's the major reason why I really don't have much to say because the things I have in mind is actually what was to point out. So I really want to thank for Joe for this great insight. So what I'll just need to do to go back to the board, then start, you know, rechecking some of those things and applying them to um, in our day-to-day life, especially in the logistic aspect, because I was running logistic for about 7 years. Then I left into retailing. Then before now I'm into real estate and I'm also trying to um, revamp back to logistics. So trying to work with
Interesting.
definitely what he's saying just gave me a reminder of the process and how some things will be done that you'll be able to manage, a whole lot of things with the digital world now that we live in. So I gained so much on my own part, and I hope forward to learn more. I really want to appreciate you, Fort Joe, for this. Out of your busy schedule, you just gave us this 1 hour of your time, and a lot was said. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
all
for
for
having me.
joining us today on leveraging technology and innovation for your business. We've explored valuable insights on integrating digital tools, understanding emerging technologies, and driving innovation to stay ahead in a competitive landscape. A special thank you to for Joe Perez for sharing his insights and expertise, helping us, to see the tremendous potential technology holds for our businesses. So thank you for this informative session, and remember that the key to growth lies into just adopting new technologies, but strategically applying it to solve real world challenges. We look forward to seeing you at our future events. Until then, keep innovating and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Have a great day, all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate. God bless.
For Joe,
Thank you.
Yeah, Ibrahim, thank you very much for having me.
thank you. Thank you.